Andrew continue to voice their discontent with the pace at which authorities are moving to fix the breakaway on the Gordon Town Road in St. Andrew. The breakaway has caused a drastic change in the way they go about their daily routine.
On Monday, residents staged a protest over what they said is neglect of their community. It's been 2 months since heavy rains caused the breakaway on Gordon Town Road, and it is yet to be fixed. The ordeal faced by residents was a result of heavy rains that led to a landslide and breakaway destroying a large portion of the roadway.
Right, I never expect an immediate contingency plan. We're talking about, after a period of time, I think a plan should have been formulated. And a contingency plan should have been, given or shared with us as residents of Mavis Bank and its surrounding environments.
We have been neglected from so long. Nothing is being done, nothing is being done. You're walking under the piece of dead shop up there. Look at it up there. You're walking at it, the bike man them behind you, boom, 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 boom. Jump off the cliff or give it pass. All these things is intimidation.
Residents were then diverted to a newly built alternative route. But the road known as Savage Pen poses a major risk to motorists.
You can't drive up this way, because your vehicle is gonna overturn. Something is gonna happen to you.
I must tell you, the Savage Pen, I've been down it 3 times. Not going up.
I've been down on it once.
I've been down on it 3 times, and it's very steep. That is not really a thoroughfare or whatever be. That's a dead shot. Because when you're coming down, it's as if the back of the vehicle is going over like this. That's how steep it is.
Added to their challenge is the higher travel costs they have been incurring.
I have to come right here, and right here at this breakaway, and I pay $100 from Kathleen. Then I have to pay $200 from here to go over it, where the road is only half of the or 3/4 of the journey. And that's not fair either. I work minimum wage.
They are appealing to the government to revisit the area and speed up efforts to address the issue. On Friday, MP for St. Andrew East Rural Juliet Holness visited the area and provided an update on the plans to fix the roadway.
Work will commence by the end of January. That's the expectation from the National Works Agency, and they've actually adjusted to doing reinforced poured concrete walls so that they can speed up the time frame. The initial assessment was a 6-month project. They have moved that assessment to us being able to complete, having started at the beginning of February to finish by May.
But when our news team visited the area today, residents said they are unaware of the latest plans as no one had come to speak with them.
We're not getting any representation to say, well, this is what's happening. Everybody is just keeping quiet, and you're ear saying, and you don't have nobody come to us and say anything, no representative, no ministers.
Andrew Laidley, TVJ News.
The Old Harbour High School in St. Catherine is now waiting to get the green light from the Ministry of Health to open for face-to-face classes next week. This follows an assessment by the Public Health Department, which gave the school a failing grade during its last inspection. Shamala Pullen has details.
The Old Harbour High School in St. Catherine was scheduled to be reopened for face-to-face classes on Monday. But on Friday, teachers got word that there will be no school. TVJ News understands that the public health team visited the school recently and found several deficiencies. This was confirmed by principal of the school, Linton Ware.
The Ministry of Health from time to time do their evaluation, and in doing their evaluation, this time around, because we would have done 5 evaluations, and we would have passed 3 of the 5 evaluations. The evaluation that is good. The evaluation that was good for last month is not good for this month, and that is how the Ministry of Health works. So this time around, they recognize that we have a couple of variables that we need to address.
Mr. Ware further explains that the school has since worked to correct the problems. He said come Monday, the Ministry of Health will be back to do its final assessment.
We're hopeful that come Monday, we will get the green light so that our students will be able to go back face to face so that we can continue the business of teaching and learning so that our Jamaican brothers and sisters can be fully educated. Because if it is that we're going to transform the landscape of Jamaica any at all, it means that our learners must be on top of their game And all of us participating in the business of teaching and learning must endeavor to ensure that our young people get the best quality education.
If the school passes the next inspection, Mr. Ware says they should reopen on Wednesday. 129 institutions were cleared by the ministry to resume physical classes this month, but so far only 76 have reopened. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
To other news now, there's concern this evening from some schools that the time needed to carry out the COVID-19 safety protocols is eating away at the much-needed class time. As part of the fix, parents are being encouraged to ensure their children are early for school so that they can be processed in time for class. Details in this report.
Central and Denby High schools in Clarendon reopened their doors to students on Monday. They were among the approved schools that delayed their January restart by 2 weeks. When we visited the institutions today, the COVID-19 safety measures were being administered. But the leadership of Denby High foresees challenges that could eat into critical class time.
Machines that can take the temperature and do some recording at the same time. But of course, you know, you're talking about funding for things like those. So that's something, of course, that we are interested in and I think would be beneficial to schools as we are looking towards having our students back for face-to-face. Because of course we want to satisfy the Ministry of Health requirements and that's one of them. So anything that will make the process easier, because you do want to start classes on time, otherwise you would defeat the whole purpose of having them back. And the manpower to do all of the recording is not necessarily available to all schools.
But things are looking good, especially in terms of turnout. Most parents are not opposed to sending their children to school.
What we had said to them is that if they had concerns about their children coming back for face-to-face, they should write to us. And so we received, I would say, about less than 20 letters from parents indicating that they would continue their children online. So we have made preparation for that. We have Wi-Fi on our entire campus. And so our teachers will be streaming from classes, from the classroom live for the students who have opted to remain home for online learning.
At Central High, close to 700 students turned up. Only 2 teachers did not report for work. The teachers who showed up were given face shields to improve their safety. The principal said the Ministries of Transport and Education could collaborate to make the lives of students at Central High easier during this time.
We would love for the Ministry of Education to assist us in that regard in terms of offering transportation. Students coming from as far as Cave Valley, as far as St. Catherine. So in terms of traveling via public transportation, that would pose a challenge for students. So having a centralized transportation system for our students would assist greatly in ensuring that we control the spread of the coronavirus.
Only students in grades 11 to 13 have returned for face-to-face classes. These students were given priority since they are preparing for CXC and CAPE exams. Parents in the meantime are encouraged to send their children to school early, as this would ensure the students are processed in time for the start of classes. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
There's an urgent call for more to be done to tackle cervical cancer in Jamaica. There is concern that too many women are dying from the disease. Shamela Pullen reports.
Cervical cancer is now the second leading cause of cancer-related death among Jamaican women.
The cervix is the lowermost part of the uterus, and it's found in the vagina. So it's the easiest part of the uterus. It's the only part of the uterus that we can actually see when we examine you. And we see it by looking through the vagina at the vaginal exam. So cervical cancer is where we have abnormal cells that are growing on the cervix. And these abnormal cells are growing without any control over them. So they continue to multiply, they can invade other organs around, and hence they are dangerous.
Data from the Ministry of Health show that over 390 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer in Jamaica each year. On average, over 180 women die annually from the disease. Consultant gynecologist and obstetrician Dr. Kathy Madan says this is quite significant for a country like Jamaica. But Dr. Madan says to tackle cervical cancer, more women need to start doing early screening for the disease.
So our young people or middle-aged people have to come in and do their well woman visits. And in that well woman visit, we do a detailed gynecological exam, including looking at the cervix to see if we see any abnormal areas. And we also conduct a pap smear at that time to see if we detect any abnormal cells. Because remember, cells are not things that you can actually see with the naked eye. You need a microscope. So we need to do this pap smear on a regular basis. And I think that's one of the first areas we need to attack.
And with the studies linking the human papillomavirus, HPV, and cervical cancer, Dr. Madan is encouraging more persons to get the HPV vaccine.
It accounts for 80%, more than 80% of cervical cancers that exist. And it's a virus that is out there. A lot of us have been exposed to it. And so vaccination has been shown to reduce the risk of acquiring HPV, as well as particularly the more virulent strains, the more dangerous strains.
Radiation and chemotherapy are usually among the treatment options for cervical cancer. However, if persons do their regular pap smears, they can detect abnormal cells early before it gets to the stage of cancer. Cervical Cancer Awareness Month is usually observed in January. With our health report, I'm Shamela Pullen wishing you good health.
Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrew Laidley. The latest labor force data show the economy shed more than 113,000 jobs over the first 10 months of last year. Most of the job losses were due to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the jobless rate easing a bit, but still devastating. Between January and July last year, more than 150,000 jobs were lost. But 3 months later, by October, things started to turn around, with 37,000 jobs added. Despite the added jobs, there were still 113,000 fewer jobs in October last year than were available at the start of 2020. Director General at the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, Carol Coy, outlined the grim reality.
The unemployment rate for October 2020 was 10.7%, which was 3.5 percentage points higher than the rate of 7.2% for October 2019. The unemployment rate increased for both males and females. In October 2020, the unemployment rate for males increased to 8.6% from 6% in October 2019, and for females to 13% from 8.6%.
The entertainment industry took the hardest hit.
Largest declines in the number of persons employed were observed in the industry groups, arts, entertainment, recreation, and other services. This fell by 36,900 or 27.9%. The impact of the reduction in employment was larger for females in each group. There were 14,300 fewer males in the arts, entertainment, recreation, and other services, compared to the decline of 22,600 females.
But while some industries were forced to send home workers, others went into recruitment drive.
The real estate and other business services industries, however, had increased employment, increasing by 11.8% to 105,400 in October 2020. The number of employed males in this industry increased by 6,700 and females by 4,400.
Gas prices are going up tomorrow. A litre of 87 and 90 gasoline will sell for 82 cents more. $1.46 will be added to the price of automotive diesel and 94 cents for ultra-low sulfur diesel. Kerosene will cost 55 cents more. $1.64 will be added to the price of propane, while butane will increase by $2.15. Meanwhile, oil prices traded higher today. Prices were boosted by prospects of further economic stimulus under U.S. President Joe Biden. Oil for delivery in February rose 26 cents to settle at $53.23 a barrel. To currency trading now, it ended today with the US dollar selling for $146.14. The Canadian dollar is selling for $115.33. The pound sterling sells for $199.08, while the euro is going for $179.35. And the JSE index lost 925 points today, while the junior market index gained 9 points. Among the winners were Consolidated Bakeries, 138 Student Living, ISP Finance Services, First Rock, US dollar shares, and Paramount Trading. On the losing side were C&WJ Cooperative Credit Union, Blue Power Group, Mayberry Investments, Key Insurance, and QWI Investments. And that's the business day. I'm Andrew Laidley. Good evening.